Okay, Mohammed, I'm going to mute myself and hand over to you. All the best.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's webinar. And today's topic, as you know, that learner-friendly tech tools for the ESOL classroom. My name is Mohammad Rayhan, and I've been teaching for last nearly 20 years. I started teaching with British Council, and then in 2018, I moved to Dublin and joined International House here. So while I was teaching for the British Council and International House, I managed to conduct several sessions for the British Council, particularly on ICT related ICT and language, how these two can be incorporated in language classroom. And also I ran some intensive teachers training program at International House on the same topic. So today's topic is to talk about some of the tools that we can use in your classroom. My main objective is to look for the tools that are easy to use, which would save your time, and also effective in terms of learner engagement. I was very selective in terms of selecting the tools. As you know, that there will be 10 minutes question and answer session towards the end. So please keep your questions for that session. And if you do use, or if you have used some of the tools and how you use that, you can share during that time. You don't need to take any notes, as I have prepared the PowerPoint presentation and the worksheet, and I will send it to Fergus after today's session. Now, before getting into that, the actual tools, looking at the tools, I would like to think about, like, when do we use these tools, and when and where, and how to use these tools in my classroom. I divided them in 3 sections, but today I'm going to talk about mainly first 2 sections, which is pre-teaching tools and while teaching. Now, before thinking about the tools, let's think about the current situation, what we are going through. I know we are all isolated, schools are shut, and it looks like things will not go back to the way it was until the end of this year. So mostly we are moving towards the online teaching approach, and there's so many approaches that we can incorporate in our teaching. For example, some of them I mentioned here. Mostly you will be using either virtual classroom or teaching live online these days. If you do manage to get into blended learning and flipped classroom, and that would be wonderful to use all the tools that you're going to see today.
Mohammed, can I interrupt you there for a second? I'm sorry. Is there any way you can turn up your volume a little bit? Somebody has just texted in message in to say, could you turn up your volume?
I think it's maximum now.
Okay.
Audio. It is maximum.
Okay, listen, that's
okay.
fine.
I'll be a bit louder than that. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no problem. So the tools that are accessible for both learners and for the teachers, and mostly you need to think about whether these tools can have learner-centered impact in your language classroom or not. And also another thing that I'd like to address is that it has to be easy to use and not to go for the premium software. Look for the ones that are free to use. Now, some of the pre-teaching tools that I'm going to cover today's session and these are QR code, Padlet, Wordle to prepare a WordCloud, quick worksheet, closed test, and online OCR. I will cover the top 3 in detail, and I will try to take you through the bottom 3 if I have enough time. First of all, I presented a QR code, and QR code is a good way to introduce any topic with your students. I use it a lot. For example, it's a kind of hidden code for the students. It's a kind of surprising thing for them. So if I give them a text in the classroom, it's quite easy for them to see it. But if I make them to stand up and come to the whiteboard or go to some sections of the classroom and scan the code, it's more likely to help your kinesthetic learner and to make them more engaged and brings more dynamics in your classroom. I'd like you to scan the code if you can, please. You have to use your mobile phone, of course. And there's a question for you, which you will be answering in a moment. To scan the code, you need to have a QR code reader, and we all have it on our smartphones. Some of the programs comes along with that, but if you do not have it, you can download it from Google Play or App Stores for QR code reader or scanner. I'm going to move to the next slide. Now, there's another code that I placed here. There's another way to use these QR codes in your classroom. Could I ask you to scan this code, please? You will find a sentence there which is not in order. So the main target is to let your student work together in pair or in groups to come up with the best possible order. If they can come up with the correct order, that's fine. But if they can't, then that will give them to talk to each other, opportunity to talk to each other and come up with the best possible answer. The answer is I got separated from my mother and didn't find her until the next day. But when you scan the code, it wasn't like that. It was completely jumbled up. But there are other ways we can use QR code. For example, you can send links, homework to your students. The task you can create, for example, rearranging questions, rearranging sentences, paragraphs even. I like the best, which is at the bottom, which is jigsaw reading. Normally, these days I'm using Zoom as my online teaching platform, and Zoom has these facilities to create breakout rooms. So when I send my students to the breakout room, then they get their individual QR code, and then when I bring them to the main classroom, they share their code, the text from their code with the other students.
Mohammed, could I come in there again and interrupt you, please? There's still 1 or 2 people who say you're a little bit muffled and not crystal clear. Is there any way you could raise the microphone up closer to your mouth while you're speaking?
Okay, all right, this one?
Yes, thanks. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. So jigsaw reading is a good way to use QR code with. There are other ways you can do that. Sometimes what I do, I put phonemic script in the QR code and place them all around the classroom and let my students go and check the phonemic script using an app called Sounds app. So there are various ways you can do that. Let's have a look at how we can create a QR code. I use this website called keywordstuff.com, and I'm going to show you quickly how I produce this keyword code. So you go to the site called keywordstuff.com, and then if you want to send a web link, you click on the website URL, or if you want to create a normal text the way I created earlier in the keyword code, which I use plain text. Normally you'll be using either this one or the other initial one, which is website URL. So when you use the plain text, you can type whatever question you want to find in your keyword code. And then, let's see, yeah. So I've got this text from Breaking News English website, and I put it there. And now if I want to, here you are, you can see the code's been generated. You can tweak it, you can add your own color. For example, you can change it to blue, and then you just download the code. And you save it on your website, name it, and then send it to your students. Or you can print it out and post it on the whiteboard or the walls of your classroom. The next one that I like to use in my classroom, the easy tool that I use all the time, is called Padlet. It's a very useful tool for students and teachers alike in terms of creating a collaborative task. What I'd like you to do now, please scan the code and remember your questions earlier. I would like you to post your answers there. So please scan the code. It's all real time. When you are typing it, I can see on my website the questions, the answers that's been posted there. So if you have your mobile phone, please scan the code and you will find at the bottom right-hand corner, there's a plus sign there. Click on that and post your answers there. I'll let you have 30 seconds to 45 seconds to see whether you can post something or not. Please go ahead. Fantastic. Some of the answers are really nice. Some of you have used Padlet before. That's true, yeah. Mobile is the audio recording. But what you can do, I use it, I'll answer this question later on in the answer question session. I use another ways to upload audio files. Brilliant, thank you. So this is a good way to engage your students at the beginning of your classroom. So you can ask all of them, you can put forward your questions earlier, and then first thing you do as you come to the classroom, or you start your classroom with this Padlet session, and they're generating ideas, and then based on their ideas, you can direct your lesson the way you want to. If you have no ideas to what to plan for, then follow the dogma method. Take one of your students' input and then then carry on from that point. Now, there are other ways we can use Padlet. I use it as a quick writing task, collaborative writing, and this works for me many times. It's really engaging. And I mentioned there's a poem on, I think it was 2018 on Mother's Day. I asked my learners to write one sentence about their mother, and they all wrote one liner on Padlet. Then towards the end, I asked one student to come forward and rearrange them to create a poem. And it was fantastic because they're all taking part in it, and I wasn't doing anything at all. Students were engaged, they were talking to each other. I let them have 10 minutes of their useful time, and then they created beautiful poems about their mother. And towards the end, they added a nice image to it and then printed out as a Mother's Day gift to their mothers. It was really good and engaging task that I did on that day. Also, you can use it for brainstorming. If you have any exam classes or advanced level students and you want to generate ideas on certain topics, you can ask them at the beginning of your class, giving them QR code, or maybe the night before you can send them the QR code with the links, and they can put forward their ideas on certain topics which can be used on the day you want to. And also it can be for lower level students, you can use it as a spelling activity. Sometimes students, they do not really check their spelling, so you can shout out their words and they can listen to your, they can type up while they're listening to your words. Audio diary, someone mentioned that there's no audio recording facilities. What you can do really, I ask my students to use their audio recording programs, not on Padlet, on their smartphones, and then upload using upload function. I'll show you how to do that. And also students can use this as a presentation tool. They don't need to use PowerPoint, they don't need to use Prezi. Padlet can be equally useful here. Now, let me take you through the process of uploading the audio file. So you can do, I hope you're, I'm going to share my second monitor. So here it is. I'm going to type something, it's a test. And if you click on this upload, you can then look for the files on your computer, and you can, it could be audio file or image file or whatever. You can upload it there. For example, we don't have an audio file here, but this is the way it worked. I remember asking my students to talk about, to create an audio diary. So what they did and on certain days, and it was quite good. I was checking their use of past simple, and it was a good way to use audio diary in that particular reason. Now let's go back to our monitor one. There were two monitors. I'm just juggling from one to another one. If you do have other ideas, please do mention towards the end of our session so that others will benefit it. Now, another program or tool that I use in my classroom is this one, WordCloud. Could I ask you to look at the slide and think about the story, guess the story? You can type up. I can see the chat box. I use these with my younger learners. Okay. I use this with my younger learners. I'm not really sure. I think it was in the Middle East. And so you can see Ahmed shoes. It's a nice story. I took the story, whole paragraph, and then I converted the whole paragraph into this word cloud. And I presented it at the beginning of my lesson. I told my students, okay, go ahead, think about the story. So what happens really when they were working in their groups, I was listening to their, because I had plenty of time to go around and listen to their stories. And I thought it was a really good way to check their language. And also they may have some vocabulary that never been taught before, but they may have picked it up from somewhere else. and they can share it with other students too. So there are lots and lots of students input there, peer support there, and I was quite happy to do that. I hope you do use WordCloud. You can mention it in Padlet's link if you do use WordCloud. So that's one way to use WordCloud, which means to develop their skill to predict. It's slow now. Right. We can use WordCloud as a warmer for higher level students and exam level students. I used it for gist reading. So what I do in IELTS exam or CAE exams, you've got a paragraph. So I turn the paragraphs into WordCloud, and then I give them the question. So based on the question or keywords from the question, they then look at the keywords in the WordCloud and they try to get the answer quickly. And that shows that they don't need to read the whole paragraph. They can only look at the highlighted words, which is in bold and bigger. And that basically shows the techniques of how to use gist reading skills, that you don't need to read the full paragraph to get your answer, because you don't have the time in an exam situation. So what you do, you look at the keywords and then find your answer. Also, you can check your students' vocabulary. You can present your the words in a word cloud at the beginning of your lesson. And then, that will help you to understand whether you have to introduce those words or check their meanings during the lessons or towards the end of your lesson once again. And also you can set the context by putting word clouds. Sometimes online, I remember when I did my first online lesson, I put justice systems related vocabulary online and ask my students to pick up one word and then describe it to others. And that's a good way to do, get students involved in your lesson. Now, the way I use WordCloud, I go to wordle.net. And this website doesn't really help you to create any more word clouds from their website. So what they have done instead, they created the desktop program. I'll show you how you use that. So if you look at their website, they have this Wordle installer, Windows installer. You can download it and install it on your computer, and that will be there forever. For example, I have this one here. Let me show you the text. Text is here. This is the text taken from BBC website. And when you turn into Wordle, click on Wordle, it creates the website for you. Brilliant. Now you can randomize it the way you want to. And it creates a wonderful workout for your students. So that's one way to create a workout. I like another one, which is a web-based platform called wordart.com. This is free. You don't need to pay for it. Just go to, for example, I created this one this morning before I stopped the webinar. Just taking a bit over. You go to WordCloud, you say create. Internet is this slow. We're at the top of the hills here in Glenasmole. So as it loads, right. So what you do, you click import and you paste your text here, which again, I've taken it from Breaking News English, and say input words. And then it will bring all the words into your cloud. Now what you have to do, you click on visualize. And then it creates the beautiful WordCloud for you. You have the option to change shape, fonts, layout, and the style. But what you do really, you don't need to download it. What I use snipping tools from your Windows, which is here, and then crop the area that you want to use as the word cloud. Good luck with the word cloud. If you have any question about this one, please do ask me. I think we are, I don't know what time is it. I'm in between two screens. I'm not really sure about the timing.
Don't worry, Mohammed. You keep going and show everything you
Is it
want to
all
show.
right?
And yeah, if people have to go,
Is
they
it
can
all
just
right?
log
Okay.
off. Keep going.
All right. Okay. Please. It's not going to be very long. Okay. So while teaching, you can use all these tools that I mentioned, particularly QR code, Padlet, while you are teaching even. You don't need to, I mean, normally you prepare your lesson beforehand, and these will help you to prepare beforehand. But during the lesson, you can place, for example, to create a quick writing task, you show them an image and then straight away say, okay, write a small paragraph based on that topic on Padlet. I remember once I did, I showed them a bottle with a message in it and floating in the sea, and then I asked my students to write, what's the message in the bottle? What's the writing? What's the text in the message? So what they did, they came up with wonderful, wonderful messages. It was really nice, so I enjoyed that too. There's a one website which I'd like to share today, which has got plenty of built-in activities. I hope I'm not really giving you too many ideas in your head at the moment, but these are really useful tools. I love this website called Breaking News English. Some of you may have used it before, but if not, let me take you through the website. So Breaking News English is a really, really useful one for the teachers and it's also for the students. It has got news items collected from various sources, and also it has got various levels for you based on the ability of your learners. For example, starting to level 0 all the way up to level 3. So if you look at this one, this topic here, refer to news article, giant hornets reach North America. If you click on level 3, or just normally click on the title, it gives you the text. Now, you can pass this link with QR code to your students before they come to the classroom. And that's a good way to set the context. So they can read it before they come to the classroom. And once they're in the classroom, as I mentioned earlier, they have to various levels. So if you click on this, for example, this is level 3 type text. If you click on level 1, it makes it simpler. There you go. See. Now, the activities I like doing while in the classroom are these. I like this one really. This is very effective in my classroom. First of all, you can do sentence match or the text jumble. It's quite good. You click on text jumble one. It's got loads of activities there. You can just. So what happens really, if you are teaching online, you can send them the link. And while you are teaching, you can send individually these links, and they have to work on their own or in their groups in the breakout room to organize the sentence. For example, if you click on this one and bring it here, you can drag and drop. So if you make an arrow, it will tell you, no, that's not right. If you do that, that's not right. So if you bring the right one, then it will give you the can be not one. So yeah, you can check correct or not. This is not right. So you can. So this is a really good way for your students to understand the logical construction of a sentence and how things can be organized in a paragraph. That's a really good activity that you can do. There's another one I like, which is missing words. For lower level students, this activity is very engaging and they do not feel that they have to perform well, as they have the words written at the top, and also it gives you the options. So a lot easier than the first one. You get the multiple options and you can check your answers first. And very useful website. Please do use it. And it has got the news and current affairs, which is taking place right now. Is there anything about COVID? I don't see anything related to COVID here. So maybe there. I use this one with my students once. Right, this is a really good website to use. Another website I like, which is, I have the link towards the end of my presentation. In one of the slides, you'll find all the links there. I like this closed test generator. So what it does, it's a very interactive one. Let me move this one here. I've got little. Okay, so I copied the text from BBC website and I paste it here. Now, if you want to make it interactive for your students, as I mentioned earlier, that you can send them the link and then they can perform the task from their smartphones, or they can do it in the classroom together. So if you want to take out every certain 6 words, so what it does, if you click submit, it removes every 6th words from the text. But it also gives you the answers at the top. So you can type it and say, which one is that? So if I say on, it's okay. That's one way to create this closed test, but it is quite useful when you want to check their grammar, or mostly I use it with advanced level students. For example, you want to check whether they know about modals, whether they have got clear idea of using conditional sentences. So based on what you're going to teach, select a text or find a text from certain source or wherever the authentic source, and then paste it here and create your closed test. Also, you can take out the articles or the prepositions, even WH words, quantifiers, modals, and you can do on your own if you like to say, okay, I want to test their pronouns, see whether I can take my, whether they can do it or not. So you can do it on your own as well, and you can put the links here. So that's really useful website. Final website that I want to show you, which is, we're talking about typing, lots of typing. When you prepare your lessons, there are plenty of worksheets that you have to make, and lots of typing involved in your lesson plan or lesson preparation. I have a really useful website, wonderful website. It's called onlineocr.net, and this website helps you to take the text from an image file and then convert it into a text file. So what I did, I have an image here. So you select the file, and here it is. I have the image here, and then you paste it there, and then you say convert, and here it is. There your steps, all typed up for you. You don't need to do anything. Now you want to create a closed test, or you want to create QR code, is all there for you. You don't need to type. Remember, initially, at the beginning of my presentation, I said, look, you need to save your time, cut down your preparation time, and more time to monitor your students so that you have your energy, you're all ready to work with your students while you are teaching them. So that's another useful website for you to look at. Let's see what I've got now. The free resources that I always use. Google has got free images. So sometimes I use Google Images in my classroom. The website I showed you already. Now, can I show you one or two images, and then I will go to the question answer session. Let's see whether I can open it here.
Yeah, we've still plenty of time, Mohammed. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just looking at the images here. Can you see the image here?
We can see some useful websites, and then we can't see
No,
anything too
nothing.
clearly there yet.
Okay, all right, fine. There you go. It's coming here. There you go. Can you see now?
No. Yes, of the goats up the tree. Yeah.
Okay, so what happens one day I was really looking for searching for ideas to how to start my lesson on animal intelligence. So that's an exam class. So I thought, what should I do? What should I do? Then I suddenly, while I was searching on Google, I found this image, and I just presented it at the beginning of my classroom and asked them to, share your ideas. What do you think is happening? All these WH questions I put there as well, what, when, how, what's happening, why, and then I asked them to put their ideas on Padlet. That's really useful. So Google has got, not only Google, you've got Pixar, you've got lots of, what's the other one? I've forgotten. Yahoo has got another website where you can have download, or you can have those free images to use in your classroom, license-free images. So there are plenty you can use. MS Word is another tool which we don't really use its full potential in our language classroom, but this is a good. Let me just change my screen. I'm going to go back to my initial screen.
You're back to some useful websites now.
That's it. Fine. Thank you. I'm just trying
But we
to.
can't see them.
No, that's not. It's all right. I'm just talking about. But think about it. I'm coming to an end of my presentation. There are various tools and websites that we can use in our language classroom. But most important thing is that you have to be very creative. The tools are there to help us. We shouldn't be relying on them too much. We should be using our creativity and our unique teaching styles to use these tools to get the maximum out of our students. And also think about their learning styles, whether it's going to be appropriate or not. And also you need to think about your timing. When should I use this particular tool, and how, and where exactly, at what stage. But as I said, not often. Some of the tools that many teachers use in language classroom, which is like Kahoot. I always have a Kahoot game. It doesn't matter whether it's a beginner level classroom or an advanced level classroom. It's really, really fun way to finish your class. So if you do use Kahoot, please do use Kahoot, or even Quizlet. Quizlet has got wonderful facilities to have vocabulary competition. So think about, you may use one way or it didn't work. So what you do, you try to tweak it, trial it, and try another approach. If it doesn't work this way, try another way. And it will help you always keep a record of your tools that work well. And remember, these tools can be used when you want to teach other languages, well, other subjects through English. Remember clearly. So if you use your creativity in your lessons, these tools will come in handy, and your lesson will be very productive and engaging. I mentioned all the URLs here, and I'll be giving it to Fergus. And some of the images that I use are from Google. Particularly goes from the tree. And thank you very much. I hope during this time you use these tools to improve your teaching online. And those who are using Zoom, it will be really useful. Thank you very much. If you have any question, I know it's not time for a question. If you do have questions, please do ask, and I will try to answer. Thank you very much. Back to you, Fergus.
Mohammed, thanks a million. That was really great. There was just so many websites, so many ideas, suggestions.
I know. I'm sorry.
Surely there are tips and ideas that everyone who's listening can use, no matter what level your learners are. I liked some of the websites, the closed tests and the breaking news English, where you could you could adapt it to the level of the students. That sounded great, you know, and start to do different levels. So hopefully there's plenty there that people can use. I realize it's 2:45, but we still take about 5 minutes of questions if
Yes,
that's okay.
no problem, no problem.
Thanks a million. I'm just going to click through the questions, Mohammed, and read out. First of all, I'll just stop the recording.